the image of the United National Congress, UNC Deputy Political Leader, Jearlean John.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I almost didn't recognize that person you introduced. But good evening to the Honorary Political Leader of the United National Congress, who apologizes for not being here this evening, but she sends her best wishes and love as she's currently attending a prayer service for a very close relative, whom I wish all of God's blessings, guidance, and protection this evening. Now, there is a negative incoming last after this deep bench because the Honorable MP Lee outsmarted me, saying he was coming philosophical. And then he came and literally said my entire speech between him and David Nackett. So I could just probably come off this platform, as it were. But in the interim, I also want to extend sincere thanks on behalf of the Honorary Political Leader and member of the Parliament for Superior to the activists, constituents, supporters who came from far and wide to participate in the Windball cricket competition. There were 15 teams and more lining up. And as a matter of fact, we want to congratulate the two finalists in Shogunas West Sunriser and eventual winners, new recruits. And the man of the match prize went to Mr. Sean Ras Davis. Thank you everybody for participating. And I think very shortly there will be a new rounds coming up. But you know, of course, we have a very deep bench of talent. Last week, Thursday, we had our youth speaker, everybody young. You know, my good chairman here just introduced me as having 25 years of corporate experience. These people had not lived for 25 years. So, you know, we really have a lot of talent, and I thank this UNC party, it's really going places. So the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, in a press release of 23rd July, had cause to remind the Law Association, and I want to thank all of the speakers who preceded me, because everybody more or less touched on several of the issues that are very pressing and burning in the national community. Because, you know, the Law Association basically told our political leader she has no business in the business of the country. But basically, it is the UNC and the political leader who has been bringing a lot of these issues to the table, quite frankly, and into the public domain. And it took the media 2 years to realize that the only difference between Rowley's cabinet and the black boys he liked to call monster is that one have a gun and the next one have a cabinet note. The only creative thing that Rowley and they have created during their 7 years is to change a cabinet note into a weapon of mass destruction. That is what they have done. For context, I looked up the word recusal in the Cambridge Dictionary because I just wanted to be clear on what it is. You know, I have a sense of it. They said it's a noun, and the fact of a judge or a member of a jury not being involved in a trial because they have a special interest in its final result. Recuse, the verb, to disqualify oneself as a judge in a particular case broadly, to remove oneself from participation to avoid a conflict of interest. So it means there's a consideration inside of there. So these fellas could jump high and they could jump low. They have something to get. They have an interest to protect. That is why they're running in and out of the cabinet, and they are not doing that because they're going to the washroom or they're religious like our goodly MP, Dr. Lee, so they have a hourly novena to say. They are running in and out because they have a siphon to the treasury. They have found a way to just suck it out. That is what they are doing. So I went further to find the Oxford Dictionary's definition for conflict of interest. And it says a situation in which a person is in a position to derive personal benefit from actions or decision making the official capacity. So Minister Young could jump up, he could jump down. Sunday, he was on the front page as the chief cabinet recuser. And it seemed as if this fellow who has no talent and no skill and would have found himself in no other cabinet but Rowley's, you know, at least he probably gets some shame, because I think today he went and he repeated what he said yesterday, because somebody tell him, boy, it ain't looking good. It must be that somebody tapping him on the shoulder and say, oh God, 98 times for Christ's sake, 98 times. You know, and he said, don't worry with that. Don't worry with that. My brother only get 3%. But 3% of what? We want to know. You see, that's what they do. They feel that we're stupid. So he make the number sound small, small, but what we know, Teotiong, is that small pin choking us hard. It's choking us hard. What you are doing is wrong. You have no damn shame to see that they are coming now to want to fool us and talk us into stupidness. But he get, and he daddy get, and he brother get. All you got 3% of what? That is what we want to know. We don't want your small pin choking us so hard, or choking our treasury so hard. You're out of place and out of order. You have gotten an opportunity to serve this country. It's the highest order you can get. The highest that you can get in any country is to serve the people. And you are there serving yourself and want to tell us that your small pin is choking us. It's choking us. And we ain't going to take it, because today, our social media was replete with protests up and down. And who is at the front line? The young people. It has had protests today that reach as far as Jearlean Park and the upscale Mocha. Today, young people, before what did they say? They will tell you that it's UNC. As if UNC have anybody voting for them in Beta. Or even in Jearlean Park, for that matter. Because, as usual, they try to change the narrative. Faris Alwari, again, according to the newspaper, said he has no apology for his 58th refusal. Why must apologize to us? And they vote for your 2 terms. The PNM government showed us who they were on the first term, and all the big boys and big girls, and show that they got back in for a second term. So he has no reason to apologize. They're wrong and they're strong, because whilst people literally starving, mothers in front of Massey with signs saying, I have no money to feed my children, that is okay. Them could go next door and sleep peacefully in their bed. Mothers who don't know how they get in school books or school bag. You understand? And many of them are from Rowley's his supporters. They just don't care. In the 1986-7, and that is sometime a positive in living a long time, you have plenty terms of reference. There was a movie in 1987, some of you were not born then, called Wall Street. And Michael Douglas, as the lead character, Gordon Gekko, gave an insightful speech where he said, and I saw that movie, he said, greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right, and greed works. And that is the motto of Rowley's cabinet: greed works. As a matter of fact, in Tobago, you know, when you're at school, they teach you superlative and things, so greed, greedier, greediest. In Tobago, we cut short all of that, and we just say, you're damn licorice. That is outsized greed, and that is what these people are displaying. Over and above, the country is falling apart, and the government, who got 2 terms in office, mainly due to the support of black people, yeah, let me put the finger in the wound, now accusing them of creating a violent society, accuses them of bad parenting. A man with his wife who fights up with his child said, Rowley could not have insulted me more than when he called me, a black man, a bad parent. Delinquency in HDC mortgage payments and stereotyping their children as monsters. Rowley accuses the black youths of creating a violent society, but young Alwari Dial Singh Rohan et al., who heads the list, them inside, them join the line and they are whining on us. 265 recusal. What are they going outside to do? Every time they go out, a deal goes down. That hit their pockets, cha-ching. And we are here like fools. So they are told with Rowley's permission, are further deepening an unequal and unfair society. Members of the cabinet are raking it in by virtue of being in the cabinet, and a majority of Rowley's constituents have no work, no jobs, no opportunity, and no hope. And he, like Alice in Wonderland, want to ask us as if we're stupid, what happened here? You! Waste of time. Even today, as I said, social media had it all over with young people blocking the road. Another killing. Their life don't matter. It does not matter. These people have to make no effort as long as they're up in the big ivory tower. These things don't affect them. Don't bother with that. It's the reason Rowley could have come and insult our intelligence to talk about what he's declaring crime, some kind of public health emergency, and you even know what he's talking about. And just to go further, he doesn't know. You think Rowley know what he's talking about? You think Rowley care about anybody? What is it? Oh, it have 2 piers. Somebody there, oh, there somewhere. He's looking for another donkey to pin the tail on. That is all he's doing. He never takes any accountability. None at all. But the youths are not as gullible. They are not as wedded to all this race talk. As far as they are concerned, the $100 blue. And they have the same needs that Stuart Young and Alwari and all the other carpetbaggers have. And in the words of Martin Luther King when he made that famous speech, I have a dream. I have a dream. Martin Luther King said, in a sense, we have come to a nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote these magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, when we went to the bank, the people had gotten a bad check. A check which has come back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. So if there is no justice, there will be no peace. That is why we are so tortured. I think some time ago, the Prime Minister said that Stuart Young and Alwari, what they were doing was not illegal. But is it normal conduct for a cabinet minister to be running in and out? He can't sit down as if he have an itch. He just jumping up to go and cash his check. And nothing for these fellas up and down the road. You don't think their lives mean something? These young people. When you go through these areas, you just want to hold your head because you say, where do we start? The situation is so overwhelming. And this government has an opportunity and they will not do anything about it. They can't care less. And this one come to tell us not 1 day but 2 days that what he's doing is right. He say if loving money is wrong, I don't want to be right. 3% is a small choke. It means nothing in this scheme of things. It means nothing in this scheme of things. So there exists no conflicting cabinet notes instructing that no child will be left behind during the pandemic. Facilitation of laptops and connectivity. That didn't happen. As a matter of fact, the same Young said he had 14 refurbished computers that he gave to the children of Belmont. You know, it couldn't bother him. He can't be bothered to make sure they get something good. He ain't got himself, of course. He sent somebody else. He sent that lackey with those 14 computers. And then the C results came out. And what did the PNM do? They decided not to publish the results because 9,000 students had gotten under 50%. And that's what they do. They hide everything. They hide everything. They never find a solution. They never do the hard work. You see, they don't want the public to see who are the children fall into the PNM-assisted bottom. Because according to the Minister of Education, the percentage of students scoring above 50% in the SEA in going back to 2022 and 2021, and that's a foolishness. Set of nonsense. Set of nonsense. We want to hear about 2022. We are living in the moment, not in the past. And our students are failing under Rowley and Gasby. And I've never seen such perversity. A group of people so dependent on other people's pain, suffering, and adversity for their success, as it is with Rowley's cabinet. So, road car fix is COVID. Student failing is COVID. What it is? Lights go, you can't get water is COVID. They are happy, they revel in the sadness and perversity, and sadness and destruction of people. And of course, money falling into their coffers. They haven't done nothing. They say, thank God for Ukraine and Putin. May the force be with him. Right? Because they get money. They are not thinking. I've never seen, this is crazy. I mean, I don't even want to come up here and talk anymore. Because this cannot be real. This cannot be a real place. How could you be celebrating people dying, children in the capital of Ukraine, Kiev? You see a little baby pram, what they call them, the push cart stuff, all over. And you know what that's symbolizing? A child who died. You should be ashamed and try to find a way out for the people. The people are begging you, do something. They are doing nothing. And somehow they could tie it up and wrap it up and tell you that up is down and down is up. That's the PNM way. 2,700 students out of the 9,000 signed up for the remedial class. And the government response to that is send out at some caravan, turn up. What about the turn up? Don't give up, caravan. See, understand? So all them doing, like a prayer, turn up, don't give up, all will be well. You know, as MP Lee said, buying scrap iron, old battery buying, the old truck that they send wherever. 70% of the children did not sign up, 6,300, and for these remedial classes. And then how many showed up of the 27 who signed up? Indeed, they need the classes. But we have to take a hands-on approach to the thing. We cannot accept that 6,700 interested. We can't accept that. You can't send no old truck around as if we're going and buy lolly. These are lives. These are our people. These are our future. Productive future, if we will only get it right. You see, they show up for Rowley and they in her place. And in Helia, they show up in Caledonia and Cocorite. But the PNM government is an absolute no-show on their behalf. They have not tried to find out why 6,300 children have not shown up. You see, that takes work, it takes compassion, it takes common sense, it takes being your brother's keeper. It is so much easier to stereotype them and call them, you're a monster. And then they have some people just carrying that on. I don't know why people just print what Rowley says. They are saying they put the good, the bad, and the ugly. They just should have put the ugly. Why did 6,300 students not show up? Could it have been lack of transport, no shoes, insufficient clothes? Do they have to work during the holidays to supplement the family's income? Just Saturday, I saw a child on social media at her wit's end, saying, my daddy want me to sleep on the bed with him and I got to do something today. It was so tragic. And our good brother, Robert, spoke about that. We are here advocating, but we have no power. All we could do is advocate, and we talk about it ad nauseum. Why things that make sense to everybody else makes no sense to the PNM? Makes no sense. Anything that makes no sense to them. Because it has nothing to do with a cabinet note inside of a cabinet room to get something, to get your 3%. So the children are not showing up because Rowley has not shown up for them. He has not shown up in healthcare and keeping the country safe, or any of those things. Sometimes I pass at the Mukarapo East Secondary School, and it looks so dismal. You know, and I wonder what goes on in there. I wonder if the Minister of Education, when she passed, wonder, and the Prime Minister, when he's going on his way to Gulf. Does he see these things and know that, does he know that the environment shapes the future of these children? There is nobody there, nothing is going on, and this is the less busy season, this is the period of holidays. I'm calling upon the Prime Minister. Do something. What are you using the time to do? You're not dealing with education. You're saying the school system is a pipeline to gangs and violence and deviancy. Yet you are not dealing with it. You're not dealing with the economy, so you can create jobs. That should be top of the list. Jobs. People want to work. People don't want your handout. People want to work. But of course, for him, it's just a government by announcement. It is now a public health emergency. Honorable Prime Minister, when a child is behind with no support system, money cannot fix that. Or calling black people children monsters, which when the leader of the opposition cautioned, you're trying to find a monster, but you yourself, please don't become a monster. She said, the day the rule of law breaks down in this land, we will have a police state. And as MP Lee said, one day, I hope it is not when she's long gone, Kamla Prasad Bisesa will be remembered. And she will be remembered positively. It is very tragic what they tried to do to this woman. She said it, she came out. They all came out against her. Why? Because they want black people children to be monster. Because it is the easy way. The Prime Minister said monster, everybody, the whole chorus, monster. Nobody's getting to the heart of the problem. Because it's not going away. The more that gone down, they kill themselves or who killed them, it's like that calypso by Stalin, the more African they gone down, the more African that come. You cannot eradicate, you can't shoot your way out of the problem. You have to work your way collaboratively, integratedly out of the problem. And it will take time. It will be slow and painful. But you have to stick a pin, put a stake down and say, this should end here. And I, as Prime Minister, take responsibility every time you go to a picture. I am your Prime Minister. I'm not interested in that. You could be the beggar on the side of the road as long as you take responsibility. Any other Prime Minister, seeing this thing as a public health emergency, you know what they would have done? They would have called all 9,000 in the Queen's Park Savannah, because the Queen's Park Savannah does hold the stink and dirty. It could hold people for a useful purpose. And everybody must stand up next to their parents, if they have. And for those who don't have, you must say, well, now I am your daddy, and we will approve those outside children for the Prime Minister. We'll approve those. You must have stands there, people social accent, you have food, you will get books. Are you okay? That is what you have to do. You have to get involved. You can't palm that off. You even put it now on your Minister of National Security. You put that on some PS. That is madness. That cannot work and will not work. It's only dead bodies dropping like flies, and nobody cares because they name Mr. So-and-so and Mr. Hotutu. Nobody cares. What kind of country have we become? We can't become so immune to death. When people dead, they don't come back. I got that from a cousin, actually. When his wife died, he rolled on the ground. Rolled on the ground, and 3 months after, he went to my mother. He said, Auntie, come to show a new woman. She said, my wife now dead. He said, yes, Auntie, she dead. She ain't coming back. You know, that's how you men behave. You understand? When you're dead, you don't come back. It's true, when you're dead, you don't. No one has come back and told us what happens. So Jesus Christ, we need to save these lives. So when our honorable leader was talking about, don't become a monster to find the monster. No big time senior council jumped out and supported her. You ain't seen none of them up in Laventille School reading Dixie the Donkey to no student. No, they're too busy. They're too busy. But what is happening today? Eight police officers with some with long service, young men, the prime of their lives. They're all behind bars tonight. When they should have been home hugging up their wife and children. It is tragic. What has become of this place, the killing fields? And people are being affected, whether you are the victim or the perpetrator, one way or the other, whether it's legal killing, extrajudicial killing, whatever it is, we have become a very sad place when death ain't matter. Can you imagine death? Doesn't matter in Trinidad and Tobago. So, if there's no justice in Mova, there'll be no justice in Kuchar and Trace. You just can't have it. And that is why our leader intervenes. She don't care where you come from. Her hands are even. She like the mother of justice. Her hands band. This lady, I have been around her for a long time, and I'm not stupid. Kamla Prasad Visesa cares about this country. She cares about the Constitution. And we have to say thank God for Kamla and the UNC and the Privy Council. Other than that, this place gone. Because every institution has collapsed. There is nobody standing. Everybody just weighed down by the weight of their pocket. Nobody is standing for the people and for the Constitution, for the rule of law and for hope. Nobody is standing. But they want to kill Kamla because she has the strength to speak out. Of course, we have some bad people. And they must be caught. So all of there is the mess. As Senator Nakit said, young men going in the remand yard for stealing a gas tank, a computer. It is wrong. But you can't keep him for 5 years and he face a magistrate. It is all wrong. So, this every 6 months. The PNM comes with an approach to crime, trying to scare people, bringing a tale of doom and gloom, and of course the UNC is the boogeyman. But a legislative fix is not the solution. The only solution to fix crime is for this lazy, immoral, dotish government to get out of the way. Because what they are doing is not working. It is just not working. So they need to move and get out of the way. Get out of the way. Just briefly, I want to just repeat what MP Charles spoke about, some of what he spoke about Trinidad and Tobago remains on a watch list, some tier 2 watch list. on the U.S. Trafficking in Persons Report 2022. Why I'm bringing this up is because, again, why everything bad finding its way into Trinidad? Why do we have this enabling environment that everything that evil and bad and wicked and vile, it finds its way to our shores? Why are we benefiting on people's pain? And we are so cruel. This young lady is talking about coming here because she had no hope in Venezuela. And so minutes after her arrival, she had been promised a decent job. But minutes after her arrival, she was forced into a van by Trinidadian men and driven to a secret location where other women were held. You tell me how in God's name, this place that like everybody business, everybody knows everything. But these things are happening and they are getting away and they are going undetected and nobody is being caught. This woman had to end up in prison and so on. And this is going on over. This is just one story, one person who decided to tell a story. All because she's looking for a better life. You have young girls jumping tall walls, trying to escape their captors. That is Trinidad people doing that. But you understand, when in the cabinet, big men and women could sit down and we call them honorable, and they're laughing, ho, ho, ho. They can't even laugh normal. First, the thing's nice. What do you expect? Pain travels down. Everybody joining that line and wine. They feel it is okay. They have normalized sin in this country. It is not okay. You know, we have been talking about this human trafficking for a long time, and now we are about to be blacklisted, it appears, because we are the only Caribbean country that remains on this list. What is there to be proud about that we don't want to get off that list? And then, of course, the report spoke about some senior government officials alleged in 2020 to be involved in human trafficking. Could it be that somebody of note benefiting from this? So you see, the Trinidad and Tobago cabinet has become a safe haven for criminal crooks, mercenaries, and mooks. Today, a British Prime Minister is out of office because his own colleague refused to tolerate that he appeared to know a colleague who he said was pincher by name and pincher by nature. Today, he's out of number 10 because of that. Do you think that could ever happen in this cabinet? No way, right? The Rishi Sunak, who is now running to become well, if he's lucky, the Prime Minister of Britain, he resigned as Chancellor of the Exchequer. You know what big? In 2022, the budget was 151 billion pounds. He resigned from it. And he said to leave ministerial office is a serious matter at any time. For me to step down as Chancellor while the world is suffering the economic consequences of the pandemic, the war in Ukraine, and other serious challenges is a decision that I have not taken lightly. However, the public rightly expect government to be conducted properly, competently, and seriously. This is the Chancellor of the Exchequer. 151 billion pounds under management, and he walked away from it because he said it's only wrong, it's damn wrong. I'm not going to support this Prime Minister. The other one, Sajid Javid, the equivalent of the Minister of Health. Proper big boy, you know, not them two-tier Mickey Mouse 2x4 thing that walking all over us, you know. You know the thing that I said his boots are made for walking all over Trinidad and Tobago people. Not them kind of people. I'm talking about proper people. And incidentally, the UK does not have a constitution. But the precedents, they follow it. And they couldn't care less. They said, this fella knows somebody who pincher by name, pincher by nature. We are not sitting in a cabinet with you. And the Minister of Health said, given the unprecedented scale of the challenges in health and social care, it has been my instinct to continue focusing on this important work. So it is with enormous regret that I must tell you that I can no longer, in good conscience, continue serving under the current circumstances. The public are concluded that we are neither, and he went on and on and on. Now, can you imagine that happening in Trinidad? What a day. But you know, when Kamla Prasad Bisesa was Prime Minister, if you scratch your head too hard or your back too hard, you tell her, go and clear your name. And for that, they said she was weak. But now a real strong man showing you that it's not wrong. There is nothing good or bad, but your thinking make it so as far as he's concerned. He does not care. and a binger of wickedness and wrongdoing. So that is the example he sets, and tell himself he could ball up and shout up and people will believe him. He has credibility. Emperor, I want to tell you tonight, you have no clothes. Your bottom is out in the road and everybody make you out. Everybody make you out. I've never seen a man more hated in my entire life in Trinidad. That has been a fairly young life. So I take good note. When Nayana Maraj in a Facebook post asked a pertinent question, she said, how have the people of Trinidad and Tobago managed to choose the most evil people in the country to elevate to the role of royalty and drag them back to feudalism? Because there's no other word for a system in which a small group of people can cruelly exploit the rest of the population and live in a state of decadent excess with the willing acceptance of their victim. And that is Stuart Young. He's deluded. He in La La Land now where he ain't no right from wrong. He come twice to tell us that there's nothing good or bad. It's our thinking that make it so. Him, his papi and his brethren, they're all men with clean hands. They come to us with clean hands. So accordingly, Kamala must just sit there like a good girl and fiddle while Rome burns. But I want to tell them, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa is an attorney at law who came first in their class, in her class. She came first. So she's brilliant. She looks at the evidence, not the commentary. Politics is not a popularity contest. And when the leader of the opposition brought the matter of the current Attorney General into the public domain, it was her duty so to do. And who vexed, lost. It was her duty. She was doing her duty under our Republican Constitution. And that Constitution, by the way, which affirms that the nation is founded on principles and the rule of law. And in January of 2001, you see, it have a benefit in living long. The then president, he was from Tobago. That is not a negative. Don't think so. Being Tobagonian is really a beautiful thing. Rowley in statistic is what you'll call an outlier. A matter of principle. On January 5th, 2001, I'm wrapping up. And he went on and he had literally what is called like a fireside chat like Roosevelt used to have with the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm not going to compare him with our current president. I'm not going to do that. But that president at the time, you know, he went on and he put his context. He said Trinidad and Tobago today is a democratic state, but it did not happen by chance. It didn't happen by chance. What these people are doing is wrong. They are taking us for fools. Arthur N.R. Robinson said it didn't happen by chance. He said a lot of us, our fathers struggled for it, and I need not recount the background from which we have come. We all know slavery, colonialism, and then independence in 1962, and Republican status in 1976. He said others in the world struggled for this independence as well. He spoke about, he said we hold these truths that men are created equal and are endowed with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Today, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. So I want to tell the PNM, you're not there by VAPs, or you're not God ordained, you are there by consent of the people. So that is the basis of which we have set our democracy. The government deriving their powers from the consent of the governed. It is the government by consent according to the Constitution that we have set up. It is a representative system. And therefore, he told us on that evening of 2001, January, he said, you see, because what has played out in the public domain, you see, over and over, they do the thing incrementally. We don't care who dead as long as it's not us. We don't care who we're working as long as it's not us. We don't care who children fail as long as it's not, they don't belong to us. He said his mother used to tell them as children, bad habits are gathered at slow degrees, as streams run into rivers and rivers into seas. So things happen day by day. You accept them and they keep creeping on until you are overwhelmed. You can't do anything more about them. This is how it has happened in history. Always say, thank you, Kamala Prasad Bisesa. She has spoken up. When nobody else, everybody frightened. She comes to this podium and she speaks her truth. And she put another voice. She doesn't go with the line and whine. She says, this is wrong, or this is right. She He said it is the accumulation, bad habits growing by slow degrees. Streams run into rivers, and rivers run into seas. In the Constitution, the beginning, the preamble, I read it over and over, not now, but prior to. It speaks about moral and spiritual values and the rule of law. The law doesn't go by itself, so in examining a constitution such as Trinidad and Tobago, everything is not just in the statutes. You have to be aware of what is not said and what must be taken into account. So you must take into account that Trinidad and Tobago is a democratic society with government by consent. Government by consent. Right? And he goes on, no power is absolute, and so on and so on. I mean, didn't always agree with him, but he was a very deep man, a very deep thinker, brilliant mind, brilliant legal mind also. He said a nation has to look at its future. It cannot live now for now. Some individuals may live now for now. Some individuals may live now for now. A nation cannot live now for now. It got to look into the future and provide for the future. See the dangers that can confront us and provide against those dangers. And that is why some nations succeed and those that do not provide for the future do not succeed. That is why the population of a country has to be alert and not leave it up to the rulers or to the persons who by reason of the money they have can command a great deal of power in this society. The democratic system is based on an electoral system that provides for one person, one vote. When you begin to tamper with the foundations of the system, then you are seeking to erode it for your own purpose. So, again, they could jump high, they could jump low. I have come to the firm conclusion that the only institutions or persons standing between us and total anarchy is the UNC, led by Kamla Persad Bissessa, and the Privy Council, that you see they start to attack, you know, suddenly the eyes on it with laser focus, but we are not going to allow this bunch of carpetbaggers to get through. So UNC, you know the latest Beyonce song, nobody ever break my soul. Don't let them break your soul. They must not stop us from hoping for a better tomorrow. UNC keep hope alive. Thank you and good night.